Hi there. So, as you may know, I'm a marketing consultant, and I right now I focus on a lot of either startups or small businesses. Throughout my career, I've worked at mostly small organizations, and I tend to work very closely with senior leadership team members, in particular CEOs and co-founders more recently, so that as they are looking to either launch their business or to extend their business, broaden that reach so that they can start making revenue. Um, I've had a lot of learnings. I mean, there's lots of things that I could talk to you about in how to just interact with these leadership team members, the conversations that we have, things like that. But one of the things that uh, is a theme that I see a lot is the want to kind of boil the ocean with the technology and really, and by that I mean solve everything for everyone. And it's not an exercise that is easy, especially as you are starting your organization. I understand the desire to want to do that because the more people that you bring into your to work with your company, the more money you make and the faster you grow. But the reality of that is that it doesn't work so well in actual practice. The the thing that I have cautioned people to do is really get really good at one thing, or a very small bit of the market. If you go in saying you offer a solution that does all of the things for every single person and every size of organization, you're going to lose your focus. You're going to be distracted constantly in what you're trying to do. And most startups are working with a very small group of individuals. Now, of course, AI is going to help scale a lot of things, but at the end of the day, you still have to depend on the people that you have staffed to run all of the programs, to do all of the activities and the things that are required in order to get to your market. And it's extremely distracting to have to create things for individual or different verticals for different types of individuals within those organizations. It becomes very complex and multidimensional. So keeping track of that is difficult, not to mention the tech stack that you're going to need to manage that. And your team is just not going to be able to handle all of it all at once. And it's also not realistic to increase the budget to such a degree that you're going to have enough people to do that. And it's also not fair to the people that you have on staff to require them to work that way. You don't want to burn people out. You want to have you want to have a great startup that also has a great reputation for taking care of its people. So, in order to balance all of that, my advice is always to choose where you're going to go. Where is the best fit that you think for this solution? Vet that with analysts, with colleagues. Have a lot of people take a look at what your product does, what problems it's solving, who the audience is for this. I mean, that should be something that you know right out of the gate is who generally is it applicable for. If you're saying it's applicable for everyone, you still have to narrow that down because at the end of the day, what you're going to try to get to is something that is repeatable, that you can bank on. If you're doing X, you're going to get Y results, and you cannot forecast that if you're trying to do all the things for everyone. So, for instance, if you are working, if you're a cybersecurity company, you're not going to blanket the earth with your message. You're going to choose an audience that you want to go after, and you can look at this in lots of different ways. You can look at it as you're an enterprise solution or your mid-market solution or you're for the small business. Within those, what are your personas? Who are you going after? What's your message going to be? You really have to, and you're not going to talk about cybersecurity in general. What you have to be very specific in the thing that you're solving for them. Especially when you're smaller, you're not going to have a ton of use cases. Your product likely is not going to support everything under the sun, and you shouldn't be marketing it as such. Don't market it as something that it does that it actually doesn't do, because you're going to be burning bridges with potential clients. all the way through. So the thing that you want to focus on is you create your messaging, you know who you're messaging to, and you have to be very specific about that. Now, once you start marketing to those individuals, you're likely going to have to course correct. You may have to expand that a little bit, the who you're going after a little bit. You're going to learn in market what is actually working and what is not. And if you're starting big, if you're going out with a multi-million dollar campaign or even $1 million campaign and you're trying to boil that ocean, you're not going to get the results back that you need in order to take further action. You need to prove out your thesis before you invest a lot more dollars. So what I would recommend and I recommend this across my clients, is experiment. Go out with what you think your thesis is going to be. This is the person we're going after. This is the industry we're going after. These are the problems we're going to solve. This is how we're going to do it in a smaller scope. Once you see those repeatable results, once you see things coming in and you can actually look at the data and say, this is working or this is not, then you can start adding fuel to the fire of the things that are working and start expanding from that as to who you're reaching. Do you have more use cases that you can go after? Attracting people to your brand, because if not, you're just burning money. And that's what a lot of companies, how they fail, is that they're pouring way too much money into areas that don't even have a result. It's just the idea of the founder or the team that are like, we developed this, we think it's going to work. And then they go out and they experiment with too big a budget, too big a scope, and they fail. And so then they have to course correct. And what we're trying to get to is a great product market fit. You're going to hear that over and over again out there. But if you don't get this perfected early on, you're going to spend a lot of time, a lot of effort, burn through staff, you're going to burn through budget before you get to the place where you can have predictable results. So at the end of the day, what I'm recommending, your TLDR, is start smaller and expand once you have repeatable results that you can depend on. You want to have that revenue coming in. You want to know exactly who your audience is, and then expand from there. But don't invest millions of dollars if you're a startup, that it could be equivalent to like a $600,000 campaign or whatever you want to put in there. But start small and then expand. And it becomes much easier than trying to pull things back out of the market, pivot your message in a different way. It's going to confuse your audience. It's going to confuse anybody that you're trying to educate out there. And that's what you want to avoid. You don't want to be apologizing and fixing things after the fact. So if you have more questions about this, I'm happy to discuss. If you have any comments on this or you have a dissenting view, would love to hear that as well. Leave that in the comments and we can start a conversation. Thank you. Bye-bye.